Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So today's video is the correct use of air superiority fighters in a tactical theatre. So I guess we have to kind of justify what that means first of all. So for instance, if we look at other groups, let's take the 104th, everyone knows who they are, or SF Squadron, Finland, people know who they are. I think they're the two top air-to-air fighting groups. They're a little bit different to us, so they specialise in fast jet air-to-air combat, you know, F-15s versus flankers versus mirages, that kind of stuff. And what they tend to do on their fights, from what I see, is they get a load of blue fighters against a load of red fighters, and they blow a whistle and off they go, and they go and try and kill each other as best they can. And those groups are extremely good at doing that, much better than we'll ever be, and that's what they specialise in. I know that because I spent some time with SF Squadron and they taught me everything I knew about air-to-air combat. But Grim Reapers are a little bit different. What we do is try and deal with a whole tactical theatre. If you've been watching our latest campaign at least, you'll know that we've got a whopping great campaign. If I scroll the screen over here, you can see that's our continuing campaign, 200 miles of lots of stuff. Lots of ground stuff and lots of objectives. So we're dealing with a tactical situation where it's not all about just red fighters killing blue fighters and blue fighting killing red fighters. It's about achieving attainable tactical goals, mainly on the ground, because air superiority only means so much. So my point of saying all of that is that when you see other groups using F-15s and flankers, i.e. air superiority fighters, you will see them trying to kill each other. And like I said, they do it very well. With the Grim Reapers, it's a little different. You could almost say that our group, our ideal for air superiority is not to kill each other. All we're interested in is controlling the airspace so that our ground pounders and our ground units can go in and do their job. So, for instance, in our campaign at the moment, we have a set number of air superiority fighters. We have F-15s on the blue side, which is the side that I'm on. We have 40 of them to last the entire campaign, which is a very, very small number when a campaign is about 30 or 40 missions. So you can only afford to lose one or two maximum per mission, if that, before you run out. And it's important to note that there are only two air superiority fighters in DCS at the moment, and that is the F-15 and that is the flanker. The MiG-29 and the Mirage can do a tiny little bit, but they're not really air superiority fighters. They're more intercept and a bit of strike. So we've got an example we're going to use from yesterday, which was day 8. We've got 3 F-15s with young pilots in, without a senior commander, and I intended to use this as an example, essentially, of how we don't want to do air superiority. So what we'll do is we'll run it through. We're not going to kind of split this into individual little missile shots and stuff like that, because it's not what this is about. It's about a general use of how to use the aeroplanes in this case. So I'm just going to play it for fact number 2. 3 F-15s there. The Reds have a lot more air-to-air fighters. You've got MiG-29 there, MiG-29 there. You've got two Su-27s there, and another one that in this haze of stuff I just can't see. There is another. There tends up being 5 against 3 Eagles, really. But that shouldn't really be a massive problem with our job. That would be a problem if they were going to fight each other and fight each other to the death. Like I was saying earlier, with the 104th, their job is to fight each other to the death. In that case, the Reds would have the massive advantage. But here, we're not interested in fighting each other to the death. We're not interested in getting MiG kills. Like I said, as soon as you shoot a MiG down, he'll just respawn back in his base and fly right back. Killing them is a very minor disadvantage to them for a couple of minutes. All we're interested in is bar capping this area, keeping the airspace as clear as possible. Not even necessarily keeping these guys out of the airspace, but keeping them busy and engaged without putting our airframes at risk. And that's the key thing here, and that's what we're probably going to learn the hard way. So let's run through. So first thing that happens, we've got my boys here, and they're charging towards a couple of MiG-29s. Now these MiG-29s are clearly aggressing towards the Eagles. So my Eagles, they've got no choice. They have to go and engage. We can't just run away at this stage. Now the first error that we have to point out with regards to air superiority is that you see my guys, they've been caught napping a bit, and they've all charged in a formation like clump. They're all together and going in at the same time. What we'd like to have seen is to set up what we call a rolling chainsaw. So we have one or two, one or a wingman pair going in at once with another guy heading away instead of going in with him. So you've got two guys. I think it was, who was it, Chaos? You and Warren going in together, was it?
Should have been.
Yeah,
but Maverick joined us.
And then so you've got Maverick here. His job is not to charge in and help, because you simply can't help. All charging, adding more men to this one big clump here doesn't help. It just makes you a bigger target. So we should have had Maverick himself or him with a wingman pair at this point heading backwards. I know it sounds counterproductive, but that's what we want, so that we can have these two head in, fire some missiles, then head out, and then as they're heading out, the Maverick pair can then come in on the cover, and then they'll continuously swap round like this in this kind of impenetrable chainsaw, and they can just fire missiles after missile after missile and keep the enemies at bay. It's not particularly threatening to the enemies. We probably won't kill any MiGs by doing that, but that's fine. We're not here to kill MiGs. It doesn't really help our campaign. So now you can see the Reds have got a better of a tactic. You see we've got a wingman pair coming here with a decent spread. And they're coming in to do their attack. To be fair, I think the Eagles got caught a bit off guard. I think they've just arrived, so they haven't had a chance to set up their tactics. But still, we should see one man turning around instead of all charging in together. And you see the Reds here keeping their guys here 20 miles back, which will be the overlapping pair. So these guys, what you're going to see from the Reds, is an overlapping chainsaw. So they're going to be doing air superiority, basically, over where we're supposed to be doing air superiority. Right, so let's see what happens. So that's our first area. We've all charged in one big clump and we're all staying together. And what that means is we're all going to get taken out by one missile. I don't mean we're all going to get hit by one missile, but that one missile is going to come in. It's going to give a warning to all of us, and we're all going to have to charge away when we get that missile warning. And that's essentially all of us put out of action at once. Whereas if we'd had the rear guard section of the chainsaw, that wouldn't be possible. So we fired missiles, and we've got I don't know who fired that missile. We've got a good kill. It's a good missile. But again, I'm not particularly interested in killing MiGs on this air superiority mission. So it's great, but we've killed him. But there he is, already respawned over there. So what value does that really hold? Okay, and haven't really watched this through, so we're just going to go as it is. We've got some red guys firing at this guy. I'm not sure why those missiles disappeared, but they did. And the red guys turned around. This is a good driver, obviously, turned around just in time. My guys are peppering him with missiles. We're not going to analyse missile shots today. It's not really our job. We're just going to keep an overview. And this red guy is flying well, is running away. And what he's running away for is for the overlap. And you can see, although it's a bit spread out, here's their overlap coming in, which is what we should have. And to be fair, Warren has turned around because he did get a missile scare, and he is kind of going to be on a bit of an overlap. So at this point, the Eagles are actually pretty well spread. Now my two front pair, Chaos and Maverick, are now chasing this guy out, and that's fair enough, as long as they don't get complete target fixation where they've just got this guy locked and they don't see other guys coming in. That's okay, and as long as they're chasing the guy within our territory, that's okay, because at the end of the day, as long as there's no other threat from other red overlaps, we can happily chase this guy out because we know we've got no threats. And then my guys have stopped the chase, called it off, which is very good, because we don't want to chase them into a red area, and so they've turned around and they're getting back, forming up their group. So all in all, it's pretty good work from the Blues so far. Now here comes the red overlap of Coffee and Wolf Shadow. I'm just going to speed this up so it doesn't take forever. You can see I've just paused that there. Udarosa's done a lovely pullback. He's not gone back 4 miles or 7 miles. He's gone back 20-30 miles. So that's really good stuff from Udarosa there. Right, in comes the next pair of the red chainsaw. It's Coffee and Wolf Shadow in a wingman pair. They're firing their missiles. I'm not going to worry about the ranges and stuff. That's not what we're doing today. Now the major problem is, again, my Eagles, they've split the chainsaw. They've cancelled their chainsaw, and they've all gone in together as one beautiful close little formation lump. And the same thing's going to happen. They're going to make themselves very vulnerable because they've got no rear overlap. And this is going to be a real problem for our air superiority mission. So we're firing missiles, hostiles are firing missiles, that's all good and fine. And one of our guys didn't see that coming. He's run straight into a missile. And to be fair, that was a hard missile to spot. So you can easily get shot down by an AT like that. But here's the crux of it. Why are we getting within? Our guy got shot down at 7 miles there. Why were we within 7 miles of these flankers? There was no need to be within 7 miles of these flankers at all. To do
it was Maverick, wasn't it?
All of you are 7 miles, all in a lovely, you'll see it on the tac view, all in a lovely tight little formation, 7 miles from the baddies. One of you was going to get shot. But we had absolutely no need to be there. We can happily just pepper long posturing shots at 15, 12, 13 miles and be in absolute assurance that we're not going to put our airframes at risk. And it's going to do just as much good as these 7 mile shots. These hostiles are going to dodge our missiles, and they're going to turn around and they're going to come back fighting, whether it's 7 miles or 13 miles. The difference is that 13 miles wouldn't put our guys in danger at all. They would save their airframes and they would do just as much good. But instead, our guys, they kind of got excited. They want the kill. They want to kill these Su-27s, and so they've gone into danger close, and someone's going to get, however good you are at fighting in these jets, if you go into danger close, someone's going to die, and it's just as likely to be you as the bad guy. So these are numbers, statistics that need to be thought about. So that was the problem there. That we charged in too fast. We all charged in together instead of splitting for a tactical chainsaw. B, we're in a position where we never should have been, i.e. 7 miles from hostile aggressing flankers. So there's two things. Now there is another thing. I've already spoken to the boys about this, so you don't need to answer it.
That one was a bad call by me going in that close.
Yeah, Roger. But the reason you actually got killed there, this isn't anything to do with the videos, because I can see you're all going 400 knots. You've all got your fuel tanks on, and you're going 400 knots, which is like sending an L-39 in to try and attack some flankers. The flankers are doing it right. They were 650 knots. So those Eagles never stood a chance. None of those Eagle missiles could ever have hit one of those flankers, because our guys are going so slow, saving fuel, keeping their tanks, trying to be efficient. You can't do that in combat. You've got to be 700 knots. You've got to be faster than the other guy if you want to score a kill, and more importantly, survive. So that was a secondary mistake. Like I said, I've already spoken to my boys about that. They won't be doing that again. But so those three things put together means we've got shot. The enemies haven't got shot. Okay, and remember, our air superiority mission is to stay alive and just keep the bad guys busy. That's all we've got to do for this air superiority mission. Right, we're going to carry on. I should say at this point as well, because we have limited numbers of F-15s, like I said, they're super, super, super precious. If we absolutely have to go and kill these guys, and there might be a reason why we absolutely have to go in and kill these guys. Let's say they're aggressing on some vegans, and we absolutely have to go and kill these guys. That's fine. At that point, we should be using our this guy, Sherman here, in an F5. He should be doing the killing. Because he's in an F5, that F5 is infinite replaceable. We do not have limited numbers of these F5s. Send Sherman in to kill. So these F-15s can be keeping these guys busy at 20 miles with 20-mile AMRAAM shots. These guys will still have to dodge, have to spin around, have to burn their fuel off, keep their concentration on those missiles that are coming in. Meanwhile, Sherman can go in and do the killing, and if he gets shot down, no offense to Sherman, it doesn't matter, because we've got infinite amount of those F5s. These are the tactics. These are the tactics of the whole blue side that should be going on here. But instead, we're getting in dogfight range with F-15s, which we can't afford to do. Right, so let's carry on. And what we're probably going to see is just an exacerbation of what we've been talking about until all the blue guys are down. So we're following it now. Coffee. I've got really bad sore throat, so my apologies. I'll just have a drink. So we've got a classic kind of young guy situation here. We've got Mavericks charged in after those charging away Su-33s, and he's a good pilot. He knows not to get shot. So as soon as the missiles come out back from this cover guy, look how Banshee comes in as cover along with his wingman pair Fortinero. Perfect red tactics going on here. They've got a lovely chainsaw, so they've got beautiful air superiority tactics going on, where ours is we've all kind of broken up. Maverick does a lovely dodge and 9G pull, exactly what we need to beat that. Chaos, to be fair, is coming in on as cover now, so we've got a little bit of a blue chainsaw going, which is good. So as long as they keep doing this, they keep going back and forth, Chaos and Maverick will be okay, even with the superior numbers of the red. And Chaos is going, he's got good speed now, it's exactly what I was like to say, but bam, target fixation. Chaos was chasing Fortinero away, which is okay, and we're still in our blue area, so we're allowed to do that as long as he's absolutely checked first that there are no other hostiles. But that wasn't done, and Banshee's come in on the overlap and just zapped Chaos. Chaos didn't have a chance. He was 4 miles by that point. So at this point we've got Blue Eagles within 4 miles of Reds. Again, exactly the same as what I said before. This should never have happened. These guys should have been scanning, these guys should have been chainsawing, scanning ahead of them, seen that this guy was coming in, and never got within 10 miles of him. If at some point someone had got within 10 miles, just quickly fire an ammo out, send him home, send him packing. We don't want to get into the dogfight. It's the worst thing we can do, because at this point it's a 50-50 who lives and dies, and luck's not on the blue side today, and a blue's dead. And it's a war of attrition at this point, and the Reds are going to win because they've got 40% more guys. And now we're down to one Maverick and one guy, Maverick, and no longer can we perform air superiority with less than 2 planes. And he's going to go in, and again, I'm sure it's a really skilled guy, he's going to go in and kill this guy, but at the end of the day, the mission, it can no longer be done, which is the job of doing air superiority. And we're just going to scroll that forward now. It's just going to be a race to someone can kill him. Lovely skilled work by Maverick here, excellent dodging, 700 knots, great flying on the jet, but it's all pointless because they can't do the job anymore and they're dead. So just a quick summary of that, and I'm doing it for my guys really more than anyone else over the internet. So with a tactical scenario like this, we've got to have our guys survive. It's the first thing they've got to do. They've got to work as a team, they've got to work as a chainsaw, and they've got to be holding their ground, not clumping in together. Thirdly, they must not go within essentially 10 miles of these guys at any altitude. If they do, then like I said, it's 50-50 whether they die or not. And as we know, our most skillful guys and experienced guys are generally going to be on the Reds, so the percentages are really going to be in the favour of the Reds. So you do the numbers, you cannot get close to these guys. Now, they are still human, so if you fire missiles at them at 10 plus miles, they are still going to have to dodge and burn their fuel away and not be able to do anything else. So that is a perfectly fine thing to do. And the last thing is the using of the correct airframes. If we absolutely have to go in and have to start killing these guys, keep the F-15s back, keep them popping 30, 20, 15-mile posturing shots at these guys, keeping these guys on their toes, sending these F-5s to do the damage. They're expendable at the end of the day in the eyes of the campaign. So I've made my point kind of multiple times there, so we're really going to work on that in the coming up missions, and it'd be lovely to see that in action properly. Anything else to add, chaps?
I think, coming back to this point, the main point of bar cap and arguably tar cap as well, your job's not that you're not there to kill people, you're there to prevent them killing people.
Agreed. In a way, you're kind of there just to disable them, aren't you? Put them out of action, not by killing them, just keeping them busy.
So, the best way to describe it is, if an F-14 providing bar cap doesn't get a single kill on a flight, but his flight of A6 intruders gets their strike off, his mission's complete.
That's exactly right. So if these F-15s, my 3 F-15s here, had not got a single kill and just been wasted all their missiles and everything, but the Vigan flight had managed to get through and kill these tanks here, success. That is how to do their mission. They're never going to win a war of attrition fight in missile fights against these Red superior numbers. It's simply not possible. But we can win the battle, the tactical battle, like Sherman said, by just keeping these guys essentially busy and away from the Vigans and not putting ourselves in any danger. All right, glad we got that done, chaps. We'll put that out, and hopefully we'll see some improvement coming out. As ever, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.